A blessed day to everyone. By the way, my name is RANDOLPH, a special education teacher from Magalang Elementary School. And I am here today to present to you my study. And the title of my study is Development and Validation of Life Skills Module for Learners with Intellectual Disabilities. And to start with, I am going to state my research problem. The study determined the validity of the developed life skills module for non-graded learners with intellectual disabilities under the K-12 transition curriculum for the school year 2020 to 2021. Specifically, this study sought to answer the following questions. How may the proposed analog module be developed? And how may the proposed analog module be validated in terms of content, format, and pedagogy? And as part of my introduction, I have a question. Why life skills module for learners with intellectual disabilities? And I have few reasons here. Number one, according to Magalang Central Elementary School 2020, that 70% of the learners under SPED were learners with intellectual disabilities. Another, life skills is one of the content areas in the K-12 transition curriculum for learners with intellectual disabilities. And the next one, according to the Department of Education Division of Pampanga 2020, that there were no available published modules for learners with special needs in any category or disability aligned with K-12 transition curriculum for learners with special needs. And another major reason would be a rapid increase in sexuality rate among learners with intellectual disabilities. Human sexuality is one of the key content areas of life skills in the K-12 transition curriculum. And this content, I believe, this content should be imposed among learners with intellectual disabilities because JPDAS Developmental Disability Center 2010 found that 80% out of 162 people with intellectual disabilities who had been sexually assaulted and abused sexually more than once. To add, SABC 2009 estimated that between 15 to 19,000 individuals with intellectual disabilities experience rape each year. Another, by some reported that children with intellectual disabilities to be at a higher risk for sexual abuse. And to give you a background about intellectual disability or ID, intelligence is an overall mental capacity that involves planning, reasoning, problem-solving, thinking abstractly, understanding complex, learning efficiently, and learning from experience. Historically, intellectual disability is the same or also known as mental retardation. It is defined by significant cognitive, functional, and adaptive skills deficits which established through a standardized measure of intelligence, in particular with an IQ score below 70. And as part of the process, I have the theoretical framework anchored by the theory of Albert Bandura's theory, which is social learning theory. It emphasizes the importance of observing and modeling to the behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions of others. Based on this theory, human behavior can learn through observing and modeling. From seeing others, it creates an idea on how to perform new behavior which becomes a guide for future actions. And the next one would be the conceptual framework. The researcher used or employed the IPO model, or also known as Input Process Output Model. According to Lee 2017, the model or this model is a process viewed as a series of boxes or processing elements connected by inputs and outputs. Information will flow through a series of tasks or activities based on a set of rules and decision points. The paradigm of the study, as I have mentioned a while ago that I used the IPO model, which is the input, process, and output. The inputs are development of the proposed module and the topics or learning competencies in life skills. And the process are module construction, module pre-validation, module revision, module validation, data analysis and interpretation, and the module revision. And the output would be the developed and validated life skills module. The study utilized the developmental research approach to establish an empirical basis for the creation of instructional products wherein the research combined the development process, which is the life skills module, for non-graded learners with intellectual disabilities under K-12 transition curriculum. And throughout the study, the principles of developmental research have been followed. Validators. The validators of the study consist of two sets. The first set, composed of 10 experts in the field of special education from the Department of Education, Division of Pampanga, who validated the topics to be included in developing the life skills module. The said experts were special education teachers for 3 years and above and academically attained Bachelors of Elementary Education, major in special education. And then the second set of validators was 5 experts from the Department of Education, Division of Pampanga, and Division of Angeles City. There were 1 district supervisor, 1 principal, 2 master teachers, and 1 sectorial coordinator for the school year 2020 to 2021. And the instrument used in starting the module, the researcher adopted a content validation checklist for topics to be included in developing the module, that being asked by the researcher from Pampanga State Agricultural University in the College of Education, and allowed the researcher to use the instrument to determine the content validity ratio that has given to the 10 content validators. The content validation instrument for topics to be included in developing the module consists of 28 topics which are answerable by essential or not essential. The researcher also used a module validation checklist that has given to the 5 experts to validate the developed life skills module to have a basis in determining its validity. The researcher adopted the 2-point Likert checklist, that being asked by the researcher from Pampanga State Agricultural University in the College of Education, and allowed the researcher to use it. The module validation checklist is composed of 3 aspects. The first and second aspects have 5 items, while the third aspect has 7 considerations or aspects for a total of 17 items, which are answerable by yes or no. The procedure. The procedure has 3 phases. The first one would be the planning phase. In the planning, the researcher listed all the topics in life skills under K-12 transition curriculum for learners with intellectual disabilities. The researcher included all the life skills topics in the content validation instrument to identify what essential topics should be included in developing the life skills module. The next phase was developing phase. In this process, the researcher adopted an outline procedure to achieve the purpose of the study, and these were: Stage 1, determining the design of the module. The researcher identified the parts of the module and the topics from the content validation result and laid them out in a form of curriculum grid. Stage 2, specifying the objectives and subtopics under life skills. Specific objectives for each lesson have taken from all learning competencies in life skills under K-12 transition curriculum for learners with intellectual disabilities. There were 28 content areas total, with 37 learning competencies covered by life skills. However, based from the content validation result, 13 topics with the 24 learning competencies were included in the developed module. And the stage 3, determining activities. In preparing activities for each lesson, the researcher ensured that each activity is written in a clear and appropriate language suitable to the case of the target learners, who are learners with intellectual disability. And the final phase would be the validating phase. to gather evidence to support the adequacy of the content, format, and pedagogical of the life skills module, the researcher asked two experts to evaluate the developed module as serve as the pre-validation process to check if the developed module meets all the indicators given in the module validation checklist. In doing this, the first two drafts of the proposed module has printed and presented by the researcher to the two experts. Then, the researcher revised the said module based on the comments and suggestions of the two experts who evaluated or who validated the life skills module, also considering the 17 aspects included in the module validation checklist. Afterwards, the five experts validated the developed life skills module based on the module validation checklist adopted by the researcher from Pampanga State Agricultural University in the College of Education. The validators consist of five experts, one district supervisor, one principal, two master teachers, and one sectorial coordinator for the school year 2000 to 2021. The validators have validated the module based on the three indicators or aspects, which include content, format, and pedagogy. Let's have the results and discussion. On the table 1, it shows there the brief details about the process in developing the life skills module. It has three phases. The first one will be the planning, developing, and validating. And then the next table would be the table 2.1. It shows the list of the topics in life skills under K-12 transition curriculum. After the content was validated by the 10 experts, 13 topics got equal or greater than 0.62 in accordance with the Loshi table for minimum values of content validity ratio per 10 number of experts. Therefore, 13 highlighted topics in life skills were included in the proposed module. And the next table would be the table 2.2.1. It shows there the first factor in validating the proposed module, which is the content. And under the said factor has 5 items which are answerable by yes or no. All validators answered yes or agreed to all items except item number 1.3. Therefore, the proposed module has met the requirement needed in items number 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, and 1.5 under factor 1, which is the content. While there was one validator answered no or didn't agree in item number 1.3. Next table would be the table 2.2.2. And the table 2.2.2 shows the second factor in validating the proposed module, which is the design or format. This factor has also 5 items, which are also answerable by yes or no. All validators answered yes or agreed to all items from item number 2.1 to 2.5. Therefore, the proposed module has met the requirement needed in all items under design or factor or format factor. And the last table is the table 2.2.3. It shows the third factor in validating the proposed module, which is the pedagogical. This factor has 7 items, which also answerable by yes or no. All validators answered yes or agreed to all items except item number 3.7. Therefore, the proposed module has met the requirement needed in all items except item number 3.7 under the pedagogical factor. There was one validator who answered no or did not agree in the item number 3.7. And to conclude, based on the results, it can be concluded that the proposed module in life skills has met the indicators or the requirements needed in the module validation checklist based on the module validation made by the 5 experts. Moreover, the results also suggest that the proposed module can be a learning material for learners with intellectual disabilities. However, there is a need to improve the proposed module reconsidering the item number 1.3 to add 20% to the result under content factor, same as the item number 3.7 under pedagogical factor. And finally, the recommendations. Aside from reconsidering the items number 1.3 and 3.7 under content and pedagogical factor, based from the feedback of 5 experts who validated the proposed module, the researcher may abide with the evaluation form in developing instructional materials, particularly the end users are from the Department of Education, public school learners. Also, to avoid issue on plagiarism and to ensure intellectual property rights of others, the researcher may use his original work when it comes to pictures or graphics. He may also request the assistance of layout artists or graphic artists to claim this collection as his own, or he wants it to be published. And finally, the researcher may request a Filipino master teacher to go over the pages since the medium of instruction used in the module is Filipino language to have a zero error. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.